What's that?
You having a seance in there?
We couldn't find the lights.
You
in
couldn't
there.
find the light.
So now we were behind closed doors. We were in the dark. Good evening. We're back in open session. Do we have a report out of closed session?
Yeah, we talked about 3 basic items. We have an employee who is asking to have a waive of an early retirement incentive, an inter-district transfer, and we talked about our status for negotiations.
Before we go to the flag salute, I'll just point out that we're short 2 members tonight. Both have excused absences. Somebody had a death in the family, and Alex is recovering from knee surgery. So they're both excused, so our ADA won't be docked. So now go to the flag salute. George, would you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Who do you think that bottle of water is going to fall on up there?
I just noticed it during the flag salute. We now have informational item, the Willits High School student representative, D'Artagnan.
We don't have a presentation prepared, but I'll talk about some of it.
Sure.
Great. It's not too much going on. We just got back from Christmas break, so we're kind of starting to come back from all of that. There's a lot of, I can tell there's a lot of tiredness going around for sure. Yesterday, basketball had their first league games. Pretty sure the girls basketball teams won, from what I know, and then boys lost, right? Okay. And then over Christmas break, wrestling attended a tournament in Liberty, and we did pretty good considering our section differences with all the other sections that attended the tournament. So yeah, other than that, there's not too much new material at high school. So.
Well, thank you. Okay. We'll now move to public comments for items not on the agenda. Do we have any public comment?
Pick up your feet and walk, man.
That's not a public comment.
That's not a public comment.
That's on the agenda, I'm sorry.
That's like 2 comments.
Okay, so we have no public comment. We'll go to reports and updates. WTA comments, please. John.
Good evening. I'm John Haschak, president of WTA. And let's see. I just wanted to talk, we're going to have the reopeners this evening. And so I wanted to explain to everyone what the WTA process is for coming up with reopeners and our negotiation stance. So unlike most other CTA chapters, which CTA has a policy of that the president picks the negotiating team, and that's so that the president has control, because ultimately the president's responsible for what comes out of negotiations. And that's the CTA policy, but WTA has a different arrangement where we have an election from each site, being Blosser Lane, Brookside, small schools, which include Sherwood, San Hedra, and New Horizons, Bethel Grove, and the high school. So each of those sites elects a negotiator, and then the president gets to pick one negotiator for the team. All right, and so this year I picked a first-year teacher to be on the negotiating team, and so hopefully that will provide some balance and some perspective. And at the beginning of the year, we did a survey of all the members about different options of negotiations and what they wanted to see in negotiations and what went on last year in negotiations. And I'll just tell you up front that overwhelmingly there was a interest in this comprehensive salary restructuring, which would lift the new teachers' salaries up, compress the years it took to reach the highest amount from 36 years down, and to try to balance out the salary schedule. So there's a strong interest in that. Some of the other options there wasn't much interest in. So anyway, I'm just telling you that that is the process. It's a very democratic process that we go through to come up with our negotiating posture, whatever. So,
Is the negotiation team set now?
yes.
Who will be on the team?
Okay, there's from small schools, there's Liz Hughes. From Blosser Lane, there's Janice Haschak. From Brookside, we're still looking for a person, I believe. From Bechtel Grove, it's Mackenzie Erickson. From the high school, it's Robert Parmenter. And the person I appointed is Jane Appleby. So anyway, that's our team. And we'll add one more from Brookside when they get it together. And so anyway, we look forward to productive negotiations this year.
Great.
And also that my ELD students and Ms. Moore's room 20 fifth grade students are doing a Martin Luther King production again this year. We did it last year, it was very successful, and so we're doing it again, but it's going to be different, and it's going to be next Wednesday, the 11th at Bechtel Grove, but only for part of the school, and then on Friday for all of Blosser Lane. So anyway, you're all invited. We hope to see you.
What time on Friday?
It'll be 10:45.
This
All right?
Friday?
Pardon?
This Friday?
No, the 13th.
13.
And what time is it at Bechtel? Are you certain?
I think it's like 8:50 or something. We're gonna do it right in the first thing in the morning. But that's only for like 100 of the students, I guess.
Oh, okay.
So it's more of a dress rehearsal for
Okay.
us. Anyway. All right. That's my comments.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Best wishes for the new year. CSEA comments. We have representative.
Hello, I'm Dan Green, represent CSEA. I have a copy of a letter. I sent out an email to everybody.
Right, I got it.
I did make a formal copy to give to everybody today, so they can see that.
Thank you.
We did it as a courtesy, so that everybody wasn't kind of sandbagged with the situation and how it's going on right now. We hope that you accept the offer. Other than that, we have negotiators, and it seems like all of the facilities are up and running again after a time off, and everybody seems pretty happy. So we're looking forward to working with everybody. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Best wishes to your group for the new year. We'll move on to superintendent comments.
Well, a couple things. It was a productive winter break for me. I found a new business manager for the district, and her name is Nikki, and I want to make sure I say it right. Agenbrod.
There you go.
And she is currently the business manager for Leggett Unified. So she'll be a great addition to the staff. She's been an employee in the district before. She lives in Laytonville, so it's a close drive for her, and got great recommendations from everybody I talked to, and she'll be a nice addition to our staff. So that was a big bonus over Christmas, because the longer we wait, the more difficult it would get. Tanya and her have already spoken about some transition things and meeting, and so I feel really good about our opportunity, and this was a opportunity time for us, and opportunity answered, so I feel good about that.
Good. It was a little worrisome,
Exactly.
not having a
Yeah.
business manager in the middle
Time
of the year.
and everything.
So is she leaving in the middle of the year at Leggett, or at?
She is. I talked to their superintendent, Tony, and he understands. I mean, he's in a district where he knows that's gonna happen.
Uh-huh.
I mean, she was traveling a long way up to Liggett from Laytonville, and she got all the training she could ever need, because in a small district, you have to do everything. And she's been accounts payable here, and worked in payroll here, and did secretarial work here, so she knows the district, knows the people. And she'll also bring all that training with her, as well as the experience, so.
Anything else?
Yeah, we had a nice visit from the CPH.
CHP?
CHP, I gotta get that acronym down. The state police, that's how I'm used to. They did their inspection on the transportation department. Last year they got an approval, but it was one that said that they'd have to come back and do a second look in the fall. We got an A+ rating from the CHP for our transportation. There was not one single deviation. Every file they pulled was correct, every training was in place. The drivers and Kelly as their lead, and Maddie, and of course, you know, their leader has done a good job. Transportation's in a really good spot. The drivers are driving more than they've ever driven, doing extra runs. The buses are working. Our maintenance schedule of sending out to locals and sending the big buses down has worked really well. It's very efficient. The CHP could not have been happier with the results they saw. So that was a really good.
And we're actually saving money by, according to the last report for the maintenance, than we were of having one position, and actually we were down, we actually had 2 mechanic positions.
Right.
So we were actually saving money and now getting a better result.
Yeah, and it isn't that they weren't doing a good job. The issue with funding is, it's the overhead cost of transportation maintenance. Remember, you have to have products on hand
Tools.
to fix the bus. You have to buy new tools. You have to buy the software now to work on the buses, because they're not just putting parts on anymore, they're electronic. Plus, you have to dispose of oil. You have all these things you have to do. It's just like when you go down to Willits Tire or Les Schwab. You know, what you pay for $75 to $100 an hour for shop time, the employee's not getting that. There's a ton of overhead. We don't have that overhead. So that's one of the big benefits. You know, and it's a personnel thing. It's really hard to be a certified, if you're certified to be a bus mechanic, you're also certified to be a diesel mechanic, and they pay a huge wage, way higher than we're gonna be able to match. And, you know, we have some local people who are really excellent mechanics, but they're so busy, they couldn't have taken on our buses anyway. So it's really worked out very nicely. The drivers have done an excellent job, and Kelly's got them all up to date on training, so, and I couldn't be happier how we're progressing in transportation. Exactly what we had hoped. Some of the other areas, as D'Artagnan said, our athletic teams are up and running. Girls basketball season they're doing very well. They're, I think, 9-3 now. Done very well. Middle school games, middle school teams are doing well. Yeah, it's a good feeling, a good atmosphere. I don't know what the crowds were like at previous games, but it seems like from our first game now to our 3rd or 4th game at home, the crowds are bigger. I've heard a lot of response about it was nice not having admission. It was kind of fun to have St. Helena here last night and not pay admission, because some of the parents knew that I was a school administrator, and they went, "You guys aren't charging admission?" I said, "No," and they're like, "Oh, you gotta be kidding me." They were kind of my poster child for why you don't do admission.
Better watch
But-
out, these other schools are gonna
Yeah.
stop
Yeah.
charging too.
I also have had some communication. We're trying to put together a spring play with the charter school. between our students and the charter school, and we're gonna probably publicize that in the next week here. We're gonna try and put on a fall play here. We have a really nice auditorium that doesn't get used enough.
You're right.
And so we wanna get that started. So I've made some arrangements with our current drama guy, and he's worked with the charter, and we're gonna try and put together a spring play. I think it'll be very productive. Facility repair goes on and on. What was the number of heaters we had go down, Dan?
Gloucester's not in good shape. They're losing a lot of heating units out there. Really no way to work on it. It costs more to work on them and fix them than it does to replace it. So it's not really good.
Now, that was budgeted for, by the way, because we budgeted a number, I don't remember what it was, 8 or 9.
So I'm not sure what that was, but there are heating systems budgeted in right out to do that.
How about our
Because-
solar panel?
The solar panel, it's just, we know that it's gotta get fixed, we know who the vendor is. It's just getting them here and getting the mechanics of it done. But it's an insurance claim, it was hit by the truck. And so the cost isn't really an issue, it's more getting the product, getting the labor. I believe the gentleman who we use for most of our stuff doesn't do the work. He's the electronics guy behind it. But I know that Terry's on it, and he's contacted the people who can come and fix it and do it. So, Yeah.
We have the vendor who built the superstructures. He's agreed to fix them. He's given numbers to the insurance company. And Gaia is not in business anymore, and they installed the solar. But good thing was none of the solar panels were actually ruined to the point that they're still producing. So we just need to drop a couple panels offline so they can do their work, and you don't have to take the whole thing off, which is kind of nice to restring them and put them all back together. And Ralph's going to help us on that. Ralph can show up. Yeah, look, he's going to help with that stuff. Like Mark said, it's a matter of getting with the insurance company, them accepting that. It's kind of hard to find 3 bidders on it when they're the only person in the state that builds that kind of structure. So they're being flexible, I think.
So,
Technology,
uh-huh.
Sherwood is that close to fully operational with bandwidth for internet access.
That's exciting.
We have it there, and we're just waiting on an installation of a piece down at MCOE and out in our stuff, and they'll be fully operational with bandwidth. And it's a microwave tower that shoots out about halfway into Brook Trails, hits another one, and directionals out to Sherwood. But I was up there over break and on Tuesday, and they had great bandwidth. The kids were in their classroom using their Chromebooks out at Sherwood.
Okay, is that it? We'll move on to board comments. I don't have any comments tonight, George.
I don't have any comments.
I'll just say Happy New Year's to everybody on the board there. I think it's great what we're hearing. I like a lot of the good stuff that we're coming up with, and I'm really excited about hearing about a drama and having a play or something happening there at the high school. I think that's great to hear. And I think Nikki's great to have come back. I've worked with her before, so that's really exciting with the experience. That's definitely good for our district.
Okay, we'll move on to public comment on the consent agenda items. Hearing none, I think we had 2 items we were pulling, was number 1, and what was the second one?
Number
Was it-
5.
Number 5, we've pulled those 2. So do we have a motion for all consent items other than 1 and 5?
And is the auction separate from these ones? Yeah.
The district? Yes, it is, I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, that's up. That's fine.
Great.
Yeah,
So do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We'll take on, we're dropping 5 altogether, I understand, and we'll take up minutes of regular meeting held on December 7th. We don't have a quorum that can approve that, so we'll also continue that. We're already to the second page of the agenda. Our New Year's resolution was to move a little more crisper through our meetings. We'll now have a public hearing on the Sunshine proposal to Willits Teachers Association. Once this process is completed and we sunshine our proposal, the negotiations can begin. And we're certainly willing to accept public comment.
So we'll open it?
Yes.
Okay.
Do we have any public comments? And our proposal has been presented to the WTA already? I mean, our list of sunshined items?
I don't believe so.
That's what we.
Well, I saw it in the.
Yeah, I was gonna say
No,
that's what we
It's in
would.
the packet. I mean, we haven't.
Okay, but
Would you like me
formally-
to formally hand
Publicly
you
in the
this,
packet.
John?
serve it on him, please.
Okay.
I didn't wanna serve him like a subpoena.
Let me do that.
So, with no public comments, we'll move on to D, adoption of the Willits Unified Sunshine Proposal to WTA. We have a motion,
Make a motion. I'll second.
and do we have any public comment? Hearing none, we'll move on to the vote, and all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No opposed, so it passes. Now we have a public hearing, the Sunshine Proposal to CSEA.
No, we need to receive from John the
It's like Christmas, we gotta exchange presents.
Yes.
Oh.
Well, I did bring my copies for all of you.
Thank you.
Let me see.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Our first proposal is almost identical for both sides, so we got that one off the
Yeah,
table.
we just
We
agreed.
both agreed to fair and equitable wages. So, these negotiations have been moving quickly this year. Kate, I don't think we take any public comment on this, so we'll just move on. We'll note and receive their sunshine proposal dated January 4th, 2017. Now, what are we going to do with this, with CSCA?
So we'll open it up, we'll just continue through for CSEA, we'll go to public hearing.
Okay.
Just
So we open the public hearing for CSCA. Do we have any public comments upon the district's proposal to the CSCA? Paula?
I have a question, is the district team with CSEA to negotiate the same as the WTA, the same as the district team when they negotiate with WTA?
Is it the same group of people?
Uh-huh.
No, basically.
Are you having an attorney this year?
No.
Who's on your team?
It would be Laura and us and Nikki.
Oh.
So that'd be for both
Yes.
units.
Units.
No attorney at the table this year.
Okay, thank
We have enough expenses,
you. I figured.
and they're pretty pricey.
They're very good.
The only issue with attorneys is generally if we do a language item, I would send that to them and let them review that. Is this legally okay? Is there anything that sounds good or bad, ugly, or whatever? But paying them to sit at a table, yeah, this is our negotiations, not theirs.
That's good. Thank you.
So, do we have a motion to adopt the district's sunshine proposal to CSEA?
You wanna present this to them?
I'll make the motion and I'll second it.
Do we have any public comment on this item? Hearing none, we'll move to the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye. I missed the vote, who first?
I did.
Thank you.
Mhm.
The next item is CSEA is number H. Now, how do we handle that, as I understand it?
So Dan's gonna get up and speak about that?
Yeah, as the letter states, we have a proposal ready, but it hasn't been ratified by the members.
Okay.
And we're, in the letter was asking if it was okay if we presented it on February 1st at the next board meeting.
Is that the date of our next board meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
And
I don't see any problem with that. I mean, we had plenty of advance warning of that, and it's obvious that, that your unit is reorganizing.
yes. And I feel we're doing pretty good.
And February 1st is the deadline, so we'll be on time, or be on track.
Yeah, January 31st, it's really close to that.
Okay.
Yeah. Contractually, it says January 31st, but we have a meeting on February 1. And so,
Okay.
I'm comfortable with the fact that, obviously they're reorganizing, they're doing things. If you were in transition of superintendent and all that stuff, you'd probably have the same issues, so.
All right, well, that's fine with me. Is any
great.
objections? Okay.
Great, thank you.
So, then we'll move on to, item I, approval of skipping criteria with shared seniority dates as presented. And I went through this packet, I don't remember seeing anything.
It's, one sheet, it's I.
One sheet,
Okay, that's.
And this is, it's been the same. It just has to be approved each year.
So it hasn't changed since 2013, we're just
Right.
approving because we're reviewing it, but there have been no changes, right?
Correct.
This looks pretty non-controversial. Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve. I'll second it.
So we have a motion second. Any public comment? Hearing none, we'll just move to the vote. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Move on to, J is, approval on final read of board policy, district residency, option 1 or 2.
This was the one you asked to be brought back from
Right.
last week?
this is the one where you gotta make the call. You make the call, or I make the call, or however you wanna.
So we've just had quite a bit of discussion. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
And
For
which option?
I'll go with,
I guess before we make my only question is, in option 1, the superintendent's reviewing his own call, is that correct? I mean, so he makes a call and then they appeal and he
Re-looks at it and
re-looks at it and
listens
makes
to
his
them
own
and.
call again. Okay.
And again, this is
Won't matter.
seldom
Right.
ever going to happen. And even if it did happen, we would have to be at odds in what we thought about it to even be a factor.
Okay. I'll
So I'll
defer
make
to
a-
the wisdom of the board for a motion.
option 1, I'll put out there.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Have any public comment? Hearing none, move to the vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Then we have we have
Acknowledgement.
Yep.
acknowledgements, so we're not voting on that, we're just
Mhm.
acknowledging that we're receiving the revised policy for certification, employee notifications, assignment, evaluation, supervision, teacher aides, paraprofessionals, tobacco, independent study, and children with disabilities enrolled by their parents in private schools. So we'll just note that these items are duly acknowledged, and we'll be taking them up at the next board meeting. And It's hard to believe, but we're at number 12. Items for next board meeting?
I have to bring back the minutes from December 7th meeting and the school accountability report cards.
Okay. And do any board members have any suggestions for future board items? Any members of the public?
We'll have a CSEA.
Right, that's
Oh,
right.
see it, thank you.
Well, with that, we'll move on to my favorite item, number 13, adjournment.
I'll
Make a
move to
motion.
adjourn.
There you go.
Adjourned.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Although it's my favorite item, I am not going to vote in favor of that tonight.
That was a great meeting. Yeah.
Super good.